This project, Numerical Aperture Optimized Microlens Array, or NOMA, involved the design and development of a custom microlens array for Navy photonic imaging. The topic number is N64267-24-C-0008, and it is supported by Navy Strategic Systems Programs, or SSP. Holoptic is a small business located in Torrance, California. Its commercial focus to date has been transparent holographic displays, many of which are used as display combiners in head-up displays, or HUDs. These HUDs are becoming common in high-end automobiles. Holoptic's display combiners enable information to be added to the HUD as augmented reality, where the data and images appear in the distance, close to the item they refer to. Holoptic's HUDs are also being developed for avionics applications, both commercial and military. We hold some of the key patents in holographic display technology. We believe that the NOMA can be a key enabling technology for HUDs, augmented reality, and related holoptic technologies. This project is a development in our development of unique optical microsurfaces, including those used as imaging lenses and those used as optical diffusers and diffuser screens. Our parent company, Luminate, is the world's leader in high-quality optical diffusers, mostly produced in a thin polymer layer on a polymer sheet. One part of Holoptic's microsurface development is targeted at extending this diffuser capability to other spectral regions and materials with greater environmental stability. We recently delivered to the Air Force a variety of projection screens, including those made from microlens arrays, fabricated from silicon for use in the infrared spectral region. We are testing a new glass fabrication method that could result in truly monolithic diffusers and microlens arrays in pure fused silica. Key Holoptic resources include our scientists, some of whom are recognized subject matter experts, our laboratories, fully equipped with tunable lasers of holographic quality, including a 750 square foot clean room and a complete optical testing facility that works from the ultraviolet to the shortwave infrared. We also have access, as needed, to Luminet's 26,000 square foot manufacturing facility, its chemical laboratories, and its high-resolution optical fabrication and test equipment. Holoptic grew out of commercialized SBIR projects, and our current revenue is evenly split between commercial and government-funded projects. Our active SBIR contracts are one Phase 1 and one Phase 2, and we are awaiting a Phase 2 follow-on. The Navy is transitioning some of its sensor systems from traditional imaging, using telescopes and lenses, to photonic imaging. As can be seen from the images, photonic imaging is much smaller and lighter. In this case, we predict that the NOMA will be used in a system that is a factor of 30 smaller and lighter than a traditional imaging system with the same resolution. To achieve a greater level of detail, the Navy is using multi-mode photonic imaging, which implements a microlens array to capture a scene at many points and direct them into waveguides, which then send the signal to the photonic detection and imaging portion of the system. These waveguides, being rectangular, support modes whose acceptance angles, or numerical apertures, are strongly axis-dependent. As a result, the Navy requires a microlens array that not only has strict requirements on its optical and physical parameters, but also specifically needs a significant difference in the focusing numerical aperture along the X and Y axes. The requirements, as originally stated in the solicitation topic, are shown here. Our Phase 1 prototype met all optical and positioning needs, although we did not consider environmental considerations at that time. The Navy SSP requirement calls for a high-quality microlens array in which each lenslet focuses the scene onto couplers and into waveguides, with each axis having its optimum acceptance angle. This significantly increases the signal reaching the detector, ensuring the photonic imaging system's capability to detect and recognize dim objects. Existing commercial microlens arrays do not meet the Navy requirements and may not detect these sources. The Navy is demonstrating the value of photonic imaging. The other services are studying this as well, under other names such as astronomical interferometry, interferometric imaging, and Fourier transform imaging. The NOMA will be applicable to most of these next-generation sensor systems. During Phase 1, we designed a prototype microlens array to meet the Navy specifications. We then fabricated the array using our standard methods, forming the array in a custom polymer that was coated on a polycarbonate sheet. The clear aperture of this prototype contained 250 by 250 lenslets. We tested it optically and measured the surface to see how well we met the requirements. We met all the optical and optomechanical requirements. The output pattern shown is illuminated by a red LED, expanded to match the microlens array clear aperture. We can see from this image that the far-field beam expansion angles, which have the same numerical apertures as the focused beam, have a ratio close to the desired 3:1. During Phase 2, we are changing the material from polymer to silica glass. This is a much better material to meet the Navy's environmental requirements. We have also revised the optical design so that the lens array can be mounted directly to the surface of the photonic imaging array, as desired by the Navy. The design and the manufacturing methods we are developing to ensure that the quality of the silica version is as high as that of the polymer version are our key innovations to enable the Navy's photonic imaging system. As this talk is being prepared, Holoptic is just finishing the 4th month of our Phase 2 project. A major purpose of this project is to reduce the risk of using NOMA technology to the Navy and the end user. We started with a significant risk reduction during Phase 1 by fabricating and testing the prototype, ending Phase 1 at TRL 4. We have identified 6 milestones, 4 relating to the fabrication methods and the last 2 targeted to manufacturing, to reduce the risk to very low while increasing the TRL to 6. This is shown in the figure. These milestones are: 1. Prototype materials have been selected. 2. First prototype parts are complete. 3. Second prototype parts are complete. 4. Third prototype parts are complete. Each prototype, assuming it passes optical tests at Holoptic, will be sent to the Navy and to the end user for testing. At the completion of this milestone, the 18th month, Holoptic, the Navy, and the end user will determine which prototype or prototypes will form the basis of the final NOMA. 5. Pre-production prototype is complete. At the end of the 22nd month, we will send several samples, optimized, as we determined during the milestone 4 testing, for more thorough testing, including optical tests, ensuring the fit to the photonic imaging system and environmental qualification. 6. Final parts are delivered. This is the end of the 24th month and includes samples fabricated on our preliminary limited production line. The final parts will also be used as the basis of commercial versions of the NOMA. The NOMA enables the use of photonic imaging, which can reduce the size and weight significantly over existing optical imaging systems without any reduction in performance. A model comparison of the NOMA with a photonic imaging array to an imaging system with similar resolution indicated that the photonic imaging system would weigh a factor of 30 less than the traditional imaging system and would take up 1/30th as much space. The specific characteristics of the NOMA are necessary to the operation of the photonic imaging array. The best current approach is to use a commercial lens array, which may not meet the Navy optical or fill factor needs. As the table shows, the NOMA will meet all the Navy requirements, significantly improving the signal-to-noise ratio in all anticipated environments, including those that are specific to high-resolution photonic imaging. The NOMA microlens array is designed as one critical component of a Navy subsystem. We are working with the Navy SSP and with the prime contractor to develop the subsystem and expect that they will combine as our transition advocates. We are also discussing this project with the prime contractor, who will deliver the full system to the Navy. At this point in our development, these discussions are more about other potential NOMA applications rather than fleet transition, but they will be able to help us transition to full manufacturing, as well as helping us locate other applications for our microlens array. Before moving to manufacturing and fleet transition, we will need to optimize the manufacturing methods of the NOMA. In addition, we will need to test it at Holoptic, including optical tests, surface measurements, and some environmental tests. We plan to have the final prototypes tested at a qualified environmental laboratory as well, ensuring that the NOMA is sufficiently stable to operate in the Navy environment. The end user will also perform tests, including testing the NOMA as a component in their developmental prototypes. At this point, the NOMA will achieve TRL 6. Ideally, as part of the transition process, our component will be tested in an operational or near-operational system or some form of enhanced ground testing, which will show how well our component, the subsystem, and the complete system work together, and will demonstrate the NOMA at TRL-7. We have studied applications of photonic and interferometric imaging across the government. There is growing acceptance of this technology, and the multi-mode photonic imaging the Navy has requested is providing the best results. As we said above, what the Navy calls photonic imaging may be called by other names at other agencies and in commercial applications. The Army, for example, has been developing interferometric imaging and sensing, multi-mode interferometric imaging, which can provide more information than single-mode and will require a high-quality microlens array like the NOMA. The Air Force also has projects using what they call Fourier transform imaging, which uses multi-mode interferometric imaging to produce near real-time volumetric images of targets. This also works best with a NOMA-style microlens array. NASA is using astronomical interferometric imaging to study exoplanets many light years away. Their systems may not need the same volume and weight requirements as the military, but will still have use for axis-dependent microlens arrays. Even the National Institutes of Health are starting to implement multi-mode photonic imaging for medical imaging. One of the more advanced applications of photonic imaging, called here astronomical interferometric imaging, is by IARPA, under the Director of National Intelligence. They are always searching for reduced size and weight in imaging, and 7 years ago were proposed a project called AMONHEN to use ground-based interferometric imaging to improve space situational awareness at distances up to geosynchronous orbit. Imaged objects may be up to 40,000 miles away from the sensor. This is another possible application of NOMA-based photonic imaging. Holoptic studied other applications of NOMA technology in the commercial sector. There is a small but rising demand for commercial photonic imaging, and it is likely to increase as the military increases its use. In addition to this, we have targeted 3 commercial areas as possible NOMA markets. Semiconductor lasers are often coupled to optical fibers. This is difficult at present since most semiconductor lasers have astigmatic outputs. Coupling semiconductor laser arrays with optical fiber arrays can require both lens arrays and arrays of anamorphic prisms, which reshape the beam. NOMA technology can replace both arrays with a single, less expensive, smaller array. This is of interest to both optical fiber companies, such as Serum Optech, a Holoptic partner, Molex, and semiconductor laser integrators, such as RPMC lasers, with whom we have worked in the past. Another NOMA application is in the field of lighting, where our parent company, Luminit, has a strong market position. Sora, a company that has worked with Luminit and Holoptic, sells high-quality lighting systems and often wants the output to be anamorphic, for example, to light a rectangular room. Other potential target companies include Philips and Cree, both of whom sell LED lighting. The anamorphic focus of the NOMA makes it useful as a combination microdisplay brightener and privacy screen. This can be applied as well in Holoptic's HUDs and augmented reality screens. Our demonstrated microlens arrays can be fabricated with lens pitches to match the pixel pitches of displays made by companies such as Samsung, Huawei, and Sony. Putting one lens per output pixel optimizes the brightness, and the output could be set to, for example, 45 degrees vertically and 15 degrees horizontally, which would increase the image brightness, as well as preventing others from eavesdropping. Finally, we are developing technologies for mass production of high-quality, high-resolution silica microstructures. Most current methods do not lend themselves to high volumes. The methods we are developing will demonstrate a significant breakthrough in silica manufacturing. Our initial plans are for transition to the fleet, with other government agencies as secondary markets. The NOMA can be configured for a wide range of applications, and photonic imaging is the most challenging from a technical perspective. This transition will involve the cooperation of the system prime, and the NOMA can become a part of their photonic imaging product line as it develops. The POR prime is also a potential partner for further development in areas outside this specific program. Our current funding, Phase 2 base, and we expect option, should be sufficient to finish the research and development and leave this project at TRL 6 to 7, ready to move to limited production. To begin actual manufacturing scale production will require follow-on funding. Teaming with the POR Prime will be particularly helpful in using the success of this project to convince other government agencies that photonic imaging is a good solution for many sensing applications and keeping Holoptic as a supplier for optical components. We see specific applications for both NOMA and photonic imaging at NASA, at the Air Force, at other services, and in commercial applications such as those described on the previous slide. Holoptic is a technology company with a wide background in optics and photonics. Holographic optics, transparent holographic displays, and custom optics are among our product lines, all of which support our augmented reality combiners in head-up, helmet-mounted, and near-to-eye displays. We can help you see what you've been missing.